Hey guys, so we're going to be talking about IMAGINiT Clarity, the Revit Performance Advisor Report task. So this is a pretty handy task to identify things that could be potentially slowing down your model. Now, the idea behind this task is that it is 17 things that potentially slow down your model, and all it's doing is looking at those in the model and then reporting on that, so that you can either resolve it or let the team know that those could be potential problems for the model's performance. So to jump into it, we'll kind of take a look at the task itself. So you get a small description here and then the report file name, so you can change this to whatever you want. For the most part, I just leave it as is. Now, everything else here, so all 17 of these are the different things that it's going to be reporting on. So you pretty much have the option to turn them on or off. For the most part, I just leave them all on. I don't need to turn them off. I just let them, get included in the report. But if there's things in here that you don't care about, or you don't think does affect the performance, then you can easily just come in here and turn them off so you don't get them in that report. Now, to take a look at it after you get it and run that task, you'll go out to your files, not reports, and in files you can click on one of the models that you care about. So that if you're architectural one, you would select that, and then from there you would take a look at the reports. So you can see the interface changed a little bit. So after you select on the model, you'll have these options to select on some of the other files in there, and you can select on reports, and then you'll get this window which will kind of brief you on what's going on in the model. It's really handy, and it gives you a lot of information. So keep it in mind when you're setting these things up. Now for me, I don't think it's a big deal to run like a database export. I do think the Revit Performance Advisor does maybe run by itself fine, like it'll reach into the model and pull these things, but it's always worth setting up a task sequence and just adding the database dump and some of those others, because that is a prereq for some of the other tasks. So it wouldn't hurt to make sure that is set up for before that you run your Revit Performance Advisor report, just in case there's anything that database export adds to this. So just keep that in mind, kind of. Now, I've already ran those reports, but we'll jump into Clarity and kind of take a look at how to get there and stuff. So I'm going to press Escape, minimize this, and we'll take a look at it in here. Now, when you do run that, so real quick, we'll take a look at the actual task. So if you go to Setup Task and Add Task, you can browse this data column, and then down here, Performance Advisor, just click on that, and then you can set it up. For the most part, I leave it as the default. That's totally fine. If I go back here, you can see here it is. I ran it already just a bit ago, and the way that I originally found it, because if you go to reports, you can't find it, but if you go to your activity stream, you can click here, and what that'll do is browse you out to the location of your reports. But the other way to do that, especially if this activity stream gets filled up with other things, is you would just go out to your files, go down, select the model that you care about, so if it's the architectural one, and then come down here to reports, and then you'll get the list of reports based off of when they were ran. So you can see this was from the 16th, and then this one was for today. So if I click on that, we can see now we get that report. So we get a number of elements failing, 399. And if we scroll down to the middle of this, we can kind of see what is going on. So a project contains unused families and or types. Consider purging them out. So you can see this is a pretty robust list. And this may be one that you drop off and you don't report on, because you can see that this could easily get bogged up with a bunch of crap, especially if it's a newer project. So here to the left, you just get the check itself, and then the elements that kind of fail within that check. Now, it doesn't necessarily go through everything if it doesn't have those items in there. You're kind of only getting a report on the things or the checks that have failing items in them. So all these have actual items in it, but there's nothing in this report that shows a check that has 0 failing items. It just doesn't report on that stuff. It does search your model for it, but it just doesn't show here because it would be irrelevant. So, from this, you can either show the team, hey, this is kind of what's going on, or, you can take this as just a starting point to start cleaning up and fixing the model itself. Now, again, this is the 17 things that Autodesk identified, as things that would slow down your model. So definitely keep it in mind, because quantifying that across, many projects and, after reducing a lot of that, ultimately would save a ton of time and money. So definitely useful, and you can automate this whole thing by scheduling it as a weekly thing, maybe on Fridays, and you just briefly check this, or Mondays maybe before the work week kind of starts, early Monday, and just quickly check your models that way. So I really love this task. I think it's really awesome, and it gives you that insights into your model, and it's all automated for the most part, and all you have to do is kind of review it. So back to this, just to kind of show you where it's at. Files, click on that, and just down here click on the model that you want to go to, and then your reports, and it'll show all the reports that pertain to that model, and you can just click on them and go from there. So hopefully that kind of gave you some information on the performance advisor task within Clarity. I know it's really helpful for me, so hopefully it's helpful for whoever else is using Clarity as well. So thanks a lot for watching. Let me know if you have any questions or comments, and I'll see you in the next video.